Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome to my channel. This is your girl Sharika, and as promised in my previous video, and if you have not watched my previous video, it's called Endometriosis, How I Found Out. Please go and watch it now so you get a better understanding of this video. However, for those of you who have already watched it, this is the video about my surgery experience. So if you're interested to hear this story, stick around, okay? So guys, the name of my surgery was a laparoscopic myomectomy, and I'm going to start by giving you guys an explanation of what a laparoscopy is. So, a laparoscopy it's a hard word to pronounce, is a surgical procedure in which a fiber optic instrument is inserted through the abdominal wall, Lord, to view the organs in the abdomen or permit small-scale surgery. Alright, so the cost of this surgery here in Antigua with my doctor was $10,000. Alright, so in my previous video I advised that I went to the doctor on a Tuesday and my surgery was scheduled for Friday. Now this $10,000 caught me off guard. I'm not going to pretend, but I have health insurance. Now the norm is that if you're going to do a surgery and you want your insurance to cover it up front, then you would have to put in your claim at least 2 weeks or a week. They'll be lenient with a week depending, in advance. But I only had 2 days to do this, so my doctor said he was gonna just send it in and let's hope for the best. So the information went to the insurance on the Wednesday. My doctor stated that he sent it in as an emergency. So the whole of the Wednesday I'm sitting around, I'm waiting. I didn't hear anything. The Thursday morning I was getting antsy because the surgery is scheduled for Friday and I haven't heard anything from the insurance yet. So I decided to call the insurance. When I spoke to the lady at the insurance, I was advised that they did not send it as an emergency, and so they were treating it as a regular claim. So I advised her that the surgery is scheduled for tomorrow, Friday, and she was like, well, we'll see what we can do. So of course, guys, I'm a praying woman. I started to pray because I wanted to get this done. So in about 2 hours, they called me back and it was approved. Thank God. So I called my doctor right away and let them know that I got word from the insurance that it was approved, and they said they were still waiting on the email, but since I got that notice, then I can come in and get my paperwork because I have to go to the lab. Now in my mind I was kind of annoyed because why are you sending me to the lab now? Why didn't you just have me go to the lab on the Wednesday when I had nothing to do, when we were just waiting to hear back from the insurance? Anyways, I go, I get my paperwork. Now this is about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. The lab closes at 4:30. So I now run to the lab, the closest lab, and they told me they can draw the blood, but they can't test anything until the following day because they already started to lock down their machinery to close. Okay. They said since the surgery is the next day, they'll put a rush on it in the morning, though, and make that be the first thing that they test, and they should be able to have results for me in 20 minutes. Okay, fine. So once I got that done, they drew my blood and everything. The next step was for me to go to the hospital. Now, this is one thing I wish I knew, is that you have to pay the hospital $700 for a private surgery to be done in their operation room. Look, that caught me so off guard, but I just had to do it. So I paid my $700 and they signed me up and whatnot and asked me to come in tomorrow, the following day, for 7 a.m. So I went home. I was really uneasy. You guys cannot imagine how I was feeling. I wasn't excited to do surgery, although I knew it was something that would help me, but nobody's excited for surgery. So I didn't really sleep the night, and I couldn't eat nothing after 6 p.m. And so I just stayed up the night praying and just trying to settle my mind. Next morning, got up and left, went to the hospital for 7, and my husband had to go to the lab to try and get my results. They told me it should be ready by about 8 a.m. When he went, they weren't ready. He came back to the hospital, sat with me a little bit. At that point, the hospital is now telling me that I'm going to need 2 blood donors, and they have to be my blood type. Now, God is so good. My husband and my father-in-law both have my blood type. So he called up his dad, and his dad came and they drew their blood. So that was settled. I was stuck waiting on the lab results because they couldn't go forward with a surgery unless they knew that my body was fit to go through it. So my doctor came and he was annoyed, but in my mind I was like, you should not be annoyed because you sent me to do these things late. And he left, and then my results came in at about minutes to 12 p.m. I know, right? I was at the hospital from 7 a.m. and my results were only coming at minutes to 12. At that point, they came, asked me to come, change me into my surgery scrub things, and they put me on a bed in the recovery room because my doctor, he had left. So they tried calling him, they couldn't get him, and I'm just laying there. And so they finally got him, and he said he would be there in the next 2 hours. Guys, 2 hours. So the next thing I wish I knew about doing this surgery is that I would have to go through a ton of injections. Listen, I got injection in this arm, I got an injection in this arm, I got an injection in my leg, I got an injection in my butt, and final injection, I got heparin to stop me from clotting up in my stomach. Listen, by that point, I was just annoyed and out of it. My husband could not be in the recovery room with me, so I was on a bed by myself. And you can only imagine all the emotions. I was shaking because I was nervous, and I was cold as well. And then my doctor finally came later in the afternoon after his 2 hours, and I was wheeled into the operation room. And the last thing I remember is the anesthesiologist saying to me that she's about to put me to sleep, and my doctor was trying to tell me I couldn't hear anything he was saying because I just wanted to get this over with. And then I fell asleep, and what felt like a couple seconds, I was awake, and all I can remember is me panicking and bawling, pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. And a nurse just came with a needle, and she did not gently insert it into my leg. She literally took the needle and jammed it into my leg, and I just remember passing out. And again, what seemed like seconds, I was awake again. I can remember not being fully conscious, but the nurse came over me and she asked me if I was okay, and she told me that the morphine is still in my system, it won't wear off just yet, so I'm gonna still feel a little jittery and a little unconscious like. But she asked me if I'm feeling okay. I started to feel little pains again. She told me that she can't give me any more morphine because she just can't. So I'm gonna have to get my prescriptions filled so I can take my painkillers. It was like minutes to 12 in the night. So y'all know I could not get my prescriptions filled that night. I had to basically go home and bear the pain. Anyway, they released me. When they wheeled me out of the recovery room, my husband and my in-laws were there waiting on me. And guys, my in-laws, they are such peaches. I love them so much. They've been so good to me. And on the way home, I was just mourning for pain. My husband hit a pothole. Lord, that was the worst. So my mother-in-law said that y'all know she won't be able to climb the steps because we live on an upstairs in an apartment. So she said that we can come and stay by them until I'm recovered. So we get home, and look, my doctor did not prepare me for the things that I was about to experience, and it was really annoying because it's like he didn't take the time to really talk to me about what to expect. So we were home, and I just felt like gas was moving all over my body. I felt nauseous. I felt like I needed to urinate, but nothing was coming. So my in-laws, they made me hot porridge. They gave me ginger ale. They gave me Eno. They gave me all kind of things to try to get me comfortable. Nothing was working. I ate 2 spoons of the porridge. I couldn't eat it no more. Drank the ginger ale and just started to feel worse. Then they tried Eno, which I think was a bad idea since the ginger ale wasn't helping. Eno made me feel even worse. And I was just there uncomfortable. Didn't have any painkillers to take. So my mother-in-law gave me a paracetamol because, I mean, paracetamol never fails us, right? Anyways, I took the paracetamol and I tried my best to go to sleep. Went to sleep. I woke up the next morning feeling okay-ish. I wasn't in too much pain, but I was in pain. And I had to follow my husband to the lab to get my medication because I wanted to use my health insurance to get my medication, and he wouldn't have been able to get it done without me there. So I had to pull myself together and just jump in the vehicle and go to the hospital firstly to try and get my medication there. They didn't have everything I needed, so I then had to go to a lab in town to get the remainder. But I got everything that I needed. We went back home and I took my painkillers, I took my antibiotics and whatever else was prescribed. And after a while, I just started feeling really weird pains in my shoulders, beneath my diaphragm area, in my pelvic area. It felt like gas pains. They were just sticking me and digging me, and then my regular pain started to act up. So listen, I started to freak out. I started to bawl. My in-laws were like, oh my gosh, do we need to take it to the hospital? My husband was like a chicken without head. He don't know what to do. And so we decided, let's go to the hospital. I'm trying to call my doctor to see if I can get any advice from him. Unable to get him. Annoying. And so we get to the hospital, and the doctor on call does not know anything about the surgery that I did. He's not familiar with that type of surgery, so he doesn't know what to do. This man puts me on the stretcher in the emergency room, and he is feeling up on my stomach, feeling up on my wounds, my fresh wounds or incisions. And the worst part, he then turns me over and sticks 2 of his fingers up my bum. He then tells me that he's going to refer me to gynecology. They then wheel me into one of the rooms that they have in the emergency room, put me on a bed, and give me a drip. And I lay there and I wait for the gynecologist to come. While I'm waiting, my doctor finally calls. I explain to him what I'm experiencing, and that is when he's explaining to me that because to do this kind of surgery, they have to inflate my stomach with gas. The gas is what enables the camera to get a large scope of everything in my tummy. So after surgery, there's no way for them to get that gas out. It has to find its way out on its own. So that is why it's going into every pocket that it can find, because it's trying to find a way out. He said it doesn't make sense to take any ginger ale. Doesn't make sense to drink and eat no and those things. None of those things are going to help. I basically just have to allow it to take its natural course. Why didn't you tell me this before surgery? Hello? Anyways, he then said to me that he's going to take off in a while. His flight is almost ready to leave, and so he will talk to me when he gets back. I think I mentioned this in my last video. Okay, fine. So the gynecologist comes in and he basically explained the same thing that my doctor explained. I have a feeling that he reached out to my doctor before he came to me, but okay. So after, they gave me another drip after that because they said I was severely dehydrated, but of course. And after that drip was finished, they sent me home and just told me to continue taking my meds and whatnot. Now, overall, the worst part of recovery was over after the first week. After the first week, I could get out of bed on my own, because one thing that I experienced is that every time I tried to get myself up out of bed, my husband had to help me. I couldn't do it on my own. And because they had pumped me with gas, all my organs has basically got pushed up to like underneath my breasts. So every time I got up, it felt like all those organs just dropped back down. The worst feeling ever. It made you feel sick. It made you feel like you wanted to vomit. The nausea was real. Listen. Anyway, all that was over within the first week. Well, after the first week. And I was able to get up. One of the things that was recommended is that once I'm able to, I need to get up, walk around the house, if possible, even walk up the road, because we don't want to be getting blood clots. So after that week, I would get up and go outside. My in-laws live on a pretty quiet road, so I would get up and walk up and down the street just to get my blood pumping. I tried to eat as good as possible. And after that 1 week, recovery was quite awesome. I can't say that I had much pain unless I accidentally hit my stomach or something like that. There was really no pain, no issues. So overall, I think this could have been a better experience if my doctor took the time to sit me down and speak to me about everything that I should have expected, like the fact that they would be pumping the gas in and I would be experiencing these gas pains, because when I went on Google I found all the information. I did not know what to search for at the time, and all the little things that I went through, you know, going to the hospital and having to pay a fee. I'm sure other patients have told him about that if he doesn't know. It's not the first time he did a surgery. And just all the little details. Like, I wish they had given me my prescription early, because I'm sure he knew what he was going to prescribe. So I wish he had given me those things early, so my husband could have at least filled my prescription ahead of time to avoid me having to wait until the next day to start taking meds. You know, all those things made my experience so, you know, horrid, along with all the pain and the emotions and all of that. I know a few times my husband started to get a bit annoyed because he just always had to be helping me and all these different things. So I mentioned in my last video that I agreed to do another surgery to basically clean up some of the tissue from the endometriosis, and that's on pause right now as I seek a second opinion. And you know, everything doctor-wise is on pause because of COVID-19. So I did mention in my last video that I'm kind of at a standstill but I will continue to keep you guys updated. So basically, for anyone who is faced with having to do surgery for endometriosis or fibroids, anything like that, my experience doesn't have to be yours, because having heard what I went through and the things that I wasn't prepared for, you should now be better able to ask your doctor questions and get as much information as you need to be better prepared. If you're scared of doing this surgery, let me tell you, the surgery in itself, it wasn't bad. I just think my preparation was my issue. I mean, if you do a surgery, you have to go through the pain. You have to go through the after effects. You can't get away from that, whether it's minimal invasion or one of those bigger surgeries. You just have to go through it. So you just have to make up your mind that that's what it's going to be. However, preparation for before and after can be different in your story. So I hope this video was informative. I hope it was encouraging or inspiring. I hope somebody is moved to get up and go get some information on ways that they can deal with their fibroids or their endometriosis, or just to even find out if you have endometriosis, because you can't be 100% diagnosed with endometriosis unless they went in and they saw the tissue. A doctor can tell you that he thinks you have it, but he can't fully diagnose you unless they went in and found that you have tissue, and that you have tissue in there. So yes, I will continue to make videos like these. At least I'm going to try. It's not the easiest thing, guys. I'm not going to even pretend. It's not easy. Sometimes my emotions get the best of me. But I think it's important to share my experiences and my story, just to help other women out there, because I know that this is a widespread issue. So many women are faced with this. I've been getting messages from women who are faced with the same pain, and they've been trying to explain their pain, and it's like nobody understands. A lot of doctors in Antigua, unfortunately, aren't equipped to discuss endometriosis, and they aren't equipped to provide you with remedies or to give you directives as to what to do. So they usually try to just give you birth control. And as I said, I will continue to document my journey just to help you guys with the steps of getting better, or feeling better, or dealing with or coping with endometriosis, fibroids, infertility, all these different things. So thank you guys for watching. If you did watch to the end of this video, I appreciate you so much, and I hope that you learned something, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.